Hello, today will be a very short video. I want to share with you are these pens. These are the pens that I've been using in my sketchbook lately, and a lot of people have been asking me, what are they? What pens am I using in my sketchbook? So I thought I'll just make a video explaining what they are, why I like using them, and what are some of the things that I don't like about them, if you care about that. They are called Faber-Castell Artist or Pitt Artist brush pen brush, something like that. I don't know why they decided to name their pens such a weird name. To me, these are just brush pens, okay? They have a brush tip, they draw kind of like calligraphy, and they do have larger sets. The set that I bought is mostly grays and neutrals, which I don't mind. And the reason I bought these is just because they were on sale at my local art store. And the reason I like using them in my sketchbook is just because they behave very similarly, I would say, to highlighters. The ink for highlighters is not super strong. It is saturated, but it doesn't really seep into the paper as much. It doesn't require the paper to be of high quality because they're highlighters, so you can work on almost any kind of paper. To me, the experience for these are kind of similar to highlighters in the sense that there's not a ton of ink that gets dispersed as you draw with these brush pens. Whereas if you were to use, let's say, the other favorite that I have, the Tombow set, these I would say only work on thicker, good quality paper because otherwise it's going to make the paper really wrinkly and they will bleed through. And the reason for that is because these pens they're water-based. So they require a lot of water to work, right? In the inside, I'm sure it's highly saturated with a ton of water, right? For it to properly disperse the pigment that it needs to create the really beautiful shapes that you draw with. So for that reason alone, these are not really similar to Tombow because they don't need a ton of liquid. They don't get dispersed all at once. It works very similar to highlighters, like I said earlier. Now, my other option, a lot of people say is, why don't you use acrylic markers? Why don't you use alcohol markers? So I find that acrylic markers work very similarly with, they don't look similar to the Tombows, but they behave a little bit similarly to the Tombows in the sense that when you're using them in these thin paper sketchbooks, I would say, they will pull a lot of ink, right? They do need a lot of ink for it to saturate the paper. And it makes the paper wrinkly, right? It's not that big of a deal in the long run. I don't think a lot of people care too much about it. So if you don't care about wrinkly paper, then go for it, right? Acrylic markers, Tombow, if you don't really care that you can't use the back of the page, or if the paper is a little bit wrinkly, then go for it. You can definitely use those pens in your sketchbook. But for me, I kind of prefer to keep it rather neat. So that's why I've been using these. And what else? Oh yeah, alcohol markers. Alcohol markers, on the other hand, they will bleed through the paper. If you use alcohol markers, you will know that. You basically can't use the back of the sketchbook anymore. But they actually do work in these sketchbooks, even though the paper isn't super thick. It's just that they will bleed through the page and the back of the paper looks like crap. And it doesn't give me a good sense to start fresh, if you know what I mean. When I flip over the page, there's already a blob of color showing through and it just feels like I gotta go to the next page. And I don't really like that. I like to use it to its fullest potential, especially because I've been doing these daily 20-minute exercises and I go through a lot of sketchbooks. So yeah, there you go. Very quickly, things I don't like about these pens. So number one is definitely the price. They cost probably $5 Canadian if you buy them one at a time from an art supply store, which is a lot, I think. And if you buy them in a set, a lot of the times regular pricing is quite expensive as well. So I don't know. I feel like they are a little bit too expensive for what they are. And the other thing I think that goes along with that is I don't think they last very long either, okay? So I got these pens probably about a year ago, and I have not been using them all that much in the span of this 1 year. Only recently I started using them pretty much every single day, but already there are a few of the colors that I have in the set that's running out of ink. So I feel like either I got a defective set or they're just not super long lasting. So would I buy them again? Maybe. If they're on sale again, I would consider purchasing another set, but I would probably not buy them one at a time anymore because I feel like that's just kind of expensive, especially nowadays. Everything in the local art supply store, the price has gone up. So yeah, there you go. This is what I've been using lately. They're called Faber-Castell Pit Artist Pen Brush.